Hello everyone, in our previous lecture we have discussed about calculus differentiation. Today our new topic is integration, a branch of calculus which is called integral calculus. Basically integration means act or process of making whole or entire. What are integrals in calculus? Let us discuss. If a car is moving, the recording of the speedometer we get readings. From readings of speedometer we get reading every minute or half a minute. If we know how fast it goes, how can we find the distance? If we know the speed, if the speed of the car is not constant and a lady goes 60 miles an hour for a moment, then slow down, speed up and so on. So how can we determine how far she has gone? So let us say in the first second her speed was such and such, like del S is equals to V del T. We can calculate how far car went the first second at that speed. In the next second her speed is slightly different. We calculate how far she went at that particular time. We proceeded similarly for each second. We now have a number of little distances and the total distance will be the sum of these little pieces. So we can write S is equals to, and the distance is equals to summation of all the velocities into time. But at a particular instant of time, or we can say at I instant, distance will be summation of velocity at particular instant t into delta t. But the distance we obtain by this method will not be correct because velocity is changing, it is not constant. So we take the time short enough, the sums will be precise. We take them a smaller and smaller numbers or smaller and smaller time intervals until we obtain the desired accuracy. So we take S is equals to limit delta t tending to 0 sigma I VTI del t, and this limit delta t tending to 0 sigma I can be written as a mathematical sign called integration, and delta t can be written as dt when delta t tending to 0. The distance can be calculated integral of Vt dt, where we use summations and integrals. Summation is used for discrete values. If we have particular values like 1, 2, 3, 4 and etc. But if values are continuous, if you have a range of values like 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, we take integral for a particular reason. Okay, integral is used for continuous value, and when del x tending to 0, it means the distance is tending to 0. It means summation is changes into integral. Now you are seeing in the screen, in the first picture you are seeing a curve and two rectangles are drawn in the curve. Curve is divided into two rectangles. But in the second picture you are seeing the number of rectangles. Curve is divided into number of rectangles. So it means we are getting in the first large errors for measuring areas of the curve. But in the second we get small errors. As the number of strips or number of rectangles tends to infinity, we get smaller number of errors, or we can make exact rectangle for this, so we can determine precisely or accurate area related to this curve. But in first there is no possibility for getting exact or accurate value. Now let us, if we have our xy plane, in this y is equals to fx is a function, so we have drawn a graph of y is equals to fx, and PQ is the curve related to this. We are interested in finding the area PQML, okay, related to this curve PQ. So we have divided whole curve into number of elementary strips of width delta x, okay, and number of elementary strips. We have randomly taken a strip, or we can say ith strip in 1, 2, 3 to I can take an ith strip A, B, C, D. We have formula for rectangles, circles, area related to this. But what about curves? We take approximation, we use this integral calculus, we can find area related to these curves. ABCD is ith strip. The area of PQML is equals to, we have made number of strips of width delta x. So the area of PQML will be sum of the areas of all the strips in the curve. We can write sigma I is equals to 1 to n area ABCD of the ith strip, and sigma is sign of summation, and area ABCD we have to determine first the area of ABCD, one strip. We can write y into delta x. Coordinates of A are xy and coordinates of B are x plus delta x, y plus delta y. We take width of delta x as small as possible so that the height of the rectangle AD must be equal to BC. By this we get a perfect rectangle. So we can write length into breadth. Area of ABCD will be fx into delta x. Now area of PQML, we have n number of rectangles. Area will be summation of the area of all the strips. If you have n number of strips, it means n tending to infinity. It means large number of strips, and so delta x tending to 0, it means the width of the strip will be tends to 0. So we get summation sign changes into integral. We can write it as limit delta x tending to 0 sigma I is equals to 1 to n. This can be written as integral fx delta. Okay, but we have area PQMN and we have limits a and b. Okay, area will be integration a to b fx dx. Now basic formulae of integration. If we have a function x raised to the power n dx, so the integration will be x raised to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1, and is not equal to minus 1. And another function we have y is equals to ax plus b whole raised to the power n. We use another function for this. Ax plus b can be written as t. By differentiating ax plus b, we get a dx. For b it is constant, it is 0. So a dx is equals to dt. Then we can write dx is equals to 1 by a into dt. On putting the value in place of ax plus b and dx, we get 1 by a into integration of t raised to the power n dt. By using formula x raised to the power dx, integration is equals to x raised to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Here x is t. We can write ax plus b whole raised to the power n plus 1 divided by a into n plus 1 plus a constant of integration. Integration of sin x is minus cos x. Integration of cos x is plus sin x plus constant. And integration of exponential function e raised to the power x can be written as e raised to the power x plus constant. And integration of 1 by x dx is equals to log e base x plus constant. Now integration as inverse of differentiation. We have talked about differentiation in our previous lecture. If we have a function y is equals to fx, then the derivative or differentiation of fx with respect to x will be written as d by dx of fx, which is equal to f dash x. Integration of f dash x dx is equals to fx plus c. For example, if we have a function x square dx, if we find the integration of this, we get, using the formula x raised to the power n integration, we get x raised to the power 2 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1, which gives x cube divided by 3 plus constant of integration. And by differentiating x cube divided by 3 plus constant, we get 3x square by 3. Using this, we get x square. Now this is proved that integration is the inverse of differentiation. If differentiation of fx with respect to x is equal to f dash x, then fx plus c is called integration of f dash x, where c is called constant of integration. Now definite integral. Functions which are integrated between two specified limits. If we have limit 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, we want to integrate between range, so we can call it as definite integral. As you are seeing in the graph, a is the lower limit and b is the upper limit. We have to find integral in between these 2 points. If integral of f dash x dx is equals to fx plus c is the indefinite integral, in which we have not given any limit to the integral. But in the next one, limit a to b f dash x dx is the definite integral, and which can be solved as integration of f dash x is fx plus constant. By putting values in place of x, we get fb, fa, and by subtracting we get value of the integral for limit a to b f dash x dx. Now theorems of integrals. If a function is in the form cu, where c is the constant and u is the function of x, so we can write c in the outside of the integral sign, integration of u dx. For example, if we have integral of 20x raised to the power 9, 20 into x raised to the power 10 divided by 10, we have taken 20 outside of the integral, then integration of x raised to the power 9 is given by using x raised to the power n dx integral is equals to x raised to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. We get 2x raised to the power 10 plus constant of integration. If we have a function in the form u plus minus v plus minus w dx, the integration can be written as integration of u dx plus minus integration of v dx plus minus integration of w dx. For example, integration of 5x plus 4x square can be written as 5 can be taken as outside of the integral sign. Integration of x is x square by 2. Using the formula x raised to the power n dx is equals to x raised to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. We get, for second one, 4x square. 4 can be written as outside of the integral sign, so x square. Using the formula x raised to the power n dx is equals to x raised to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. We get 4x cube divided by 3 plus constant of integration. Now an example. We have to find integration of sin square x dx. We know the formula in trigonometry, cos 2x is equals to 1 minus 2 sin square x, and we can write sin square x is equals to 1 minus cos 2x divided by 2. Integration of sin square x is equals to half of 1 dx minus half of integration of cos 2x dx. Integration of one is, it is x using the formula integration of x raised to the power n, and for the second one minus half into, we have talked about the formula related to cos x. But what about cos 2x? We take 2x as another function. 2x is equals to t. Then differentiating 2x and t, we get 2 dx is equals to dt. So the dx is equals to dt divided by 2. Putting in place of x is equals to t. So we get, and dx is equals to d divided by 2. We get cos t. Okay. And integration of cos 2x is sin x. So we can write sin t x divided by 2 plus cos. Final result will be x divided by 2 minus 1 by 4 sin 2x plus constant of integration.